Hello everyone and welcome to today's review of Tomb Raider. This is a 2018 film that stars Alicia Vikander, Dominic West, and Walter Goggins. The story is based off of a 2013 video game reboot that was done by Crystal Dynamics, and it is of the long-standing Tomb Raider franchise. When we look at the film as itself, it is a reboot of Angelina Jolie films from the early 2000s, as well as with it being based off of a video game reboot. So we have like a reboot inception kind of thing, and that in itself helped and hindered all at once. And it was helpful because it kind of gave it a good base story to work with, trying to figure out what caused Lara Croft's father's death. And then it kind of devolves into, okay, this is a new character. We got to give you as much story up front as we can. And they do that in very poor ways, and they draw it out at the very beginning of the film. And it kind of makes it hard to connect Laura and establish her backstory when it's done in other places. And there's so little screen time between Alicia Vikander's Lara Croft and Dominic West's Lord Richard Croft that the relationship between the two is hard to relate to. You kind of get this feeling that Laura loves her dad with all of her heart, but he wasn't there. So for me, that's just something that I can't relate to, and I have a hard time believing in their relationship. There were some very interesting action scenes within the film that's pulled directly from the 2013 reboot, and one we see in the early trailers all over it. So this scene is the airplane scene where there's this rusted out airplane and she's falling down a river, all based off a scene directly from the video game. So she's running across, the plane falls, and I never believed she was in danger because I saw it in the video game. Now, taking story elements from the game like Trinity and the island that she's on, along with the reason why she's there, that was great. But as soon as you pull scenes directly from the game, it started to make the movie feel like it didn't have its own identity. And then when you move farther ahead and farther ahead in the plot, the ending itself went, we're going to tell another story. We're going to do it. This was just here to get you into the next one. It was an origin story that led into a sequel that might not ever happen. So the ending in itself was pointless. I think that the interaction between Alicia Vikander's Lara Croft and Walter Goggins' Matthias was a very interesting dynamic. I think they work well together, but I think the movie would have done better from taking a cue from the video game, where Matthias is not fully a bad guy until later on in the story, and he turns on Laura in a twist that I didn't see coming when I played it. And I felt like if when you realize there's a relationship between Lord Richard and Matthias that they could have went with, and that would have brought more depth to the story than the simple I'm a villain and I want this and there isn't anything you can do to stop me. It's not saying that the movie wasn't horrible. It's a film where if you don't think too much about it, you can enjoy. You just kind of got to push yourself through that forced backstory that they tell you multiple times. With that being said, Tomb Raider was fun. There wasn't a whole lot of intense violence. There wasn't any nudity. There was a little bit of cuss words, but nothing too obscene. This movie still garnered a PG-13 rating. And I caught it at a time when there wasn't much else on. And in that aspect, it did exactly what it needed to do. It entertained me. It made me have some fun. And as a player of the Crystal Dynamics game, it was a trip to go, oh yeah, I remember doing that. I remember that character. Oh, he was more fleshed out in the game. Laura had a better arc in the game. You believed where she was coming from and what she was doing. And really, the story was told better within the game, at least from what I experienced. But I do say that if you haven't seen this game and you I almost turned it into a video game review. But no, in all seriousness, if you did play the game, you enjoyed the game story, watch this movie and compare them for yourselves. And even if you haven't, watched it anyway, because it's a fun time just to shut your brain off and let the story take where it may. So, with that being said, go ahead and watch it, enjoy it, and until next time, have a great night.